the lack of control of spending is making everything more expensive.
Right. Today we're going to be talking a little bit about affordability.
What we think is rates will start to come down at some point later next year.
They just capped the rental increase this year at 2%.
Yeah. Has there been a time where the government's put a policy in that's actually worked? Can you recall? Aside from maybe...
Good question.
I don't know, legalizing marijuana? I don't know, like...
Hey, it's Alex Yao with Remax Select Properties.
And Chris Cornborough from Forefront Mortgages.
And this is your market update for September 2022.
Yeah.
So interest rates keeps going up.
They do.
And I want to talk a little bit about the price stats. So single detached homes over the last month, Vancouver East went down 1.6%. Vancouver West went down 1.4%. Townhomes, Vancouver East went down 3.7%. Vancouver West went down 0.3%. Condos, Vancouver East went down 2.5%. Vancouver West went down 1.7%. So everything's going down as we've expected with the rise of interest rates, payments getting bigger and buyers kind of getting priced down a little bit.
And these are from August, these stats, right?
These stats are from the last full month.
Gotcha.
And so that's what we've been seeing.
Yeah.
Now, today we're going to be talking a little bit about affordability, and as you can see, the prices are coming down. But how does that really impact you? There's a kind of a misconception in regards to that. So we're going to talk a little bit about that today. If you're on the fence of moving, buying, selling, this is something that you really need to pay attention to. So, of course, the interest rates went back up, or went up again.
Went up again.
75 basis points?
Yeah, last Tuesday? Well, last Wednesday?
Yeah.
On the 7th?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
What's it at now?
So prime is 5.45.
Wow.
And that's up from 2.45.
Wow.
So it's gone up 3%
Right.
since the lows of COVID,
Right.
which is pretty crazy. It's pretty high. Last time I think we had these rates were in the 90s. So
Right.
we're at that kind of like very high point in history where we've kind of peaked at rates.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's going to be another increase. They're talking about another maybe 0.5% or 0.25% sometime in October. It all depends. Unemployment is creeping up, which isn't obviously good if you're unemployed, but that is the one thing that the higher the unemployment rate gets, the chances of interest rates staying level and coming down are good. So we need to put the brakes on the economy. The government's making it more expensive for people to leverage, so businesses or consumers, everything's costing more. So the idea is that they're taking the cash out of your pocket that you would otherwise spend going out for dinner or restaurants or whatever have you, and they're trying to slow the spending down, because that's really what's happening right now.
Right.
Is the spending is killing.
Right.
The lack of control of spending is making everything more expensive.
Right.
All this money that was given out for free during COVID, we're kind of paying the price for that now. It's
Yeah.
not ideal, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
We kind of have to pay back what we spent.
Right.
And now it's just a little bit of a hangover from cheap money for the last 2 years, right? It's reality.
So, according to these stats, let's just take single detached homes for a second here. The last 6 months, so March till now, I guess, February, March till now, the last 6 months, Vancouver East houses have gone down 5.3%. Vancouver West houses have gone down 4.1%. Let's just take 5% as an example, okay? For every $1 million of purchase price, and let's say a general 20% down. So $200K down for $1 million, or every million if you wanted to calculate it that way. So that's an $800,000 mortgage. So 6 months ago, the interest rate was what, 2%-ish?
Give or take.
Yeah, so for a fixed term. And now it's creeping up to about 5?
Yeah, most banks are at 5.5
Yeah.
right now for 5 years, which is expensive.
Yeah. So this is the part where if you're waiting for prices to come down more before you buy, obviously, for $1 million property that you could have bought 6 months ago, now could be at $950. You're thinking great deal, right? But what's it going to cost you? That should be the key. That should be the most important part, because that's your finances. That's your interest that you're paying. That's your monthly payments. How is that going to affect you? So $1 million, $800K of mortgage at 2% versus down 5%, let's say, $750K, let's say you still have the $200K as a down payment. So $750K at 5%.
Yep.
What's that like?
So on an $800,000 mortgage at 2%, you're paying $2,950 per month.
Okay.
On $750 at 5%, you're paying $4,000 a month. So it's going to cost you an extra, call it $1,000 a month. Of course, the offset, like you said, is the price reduction.
Right.
So where's that inflection point where is it worthwhile to buy now, pay a little bit more? What we think is rates will start to come down at some point later next year. So you'd have to sort of figure out what the optics are for the next 12 to maybe
Right.
18 months, for
Right.
example, right?
Right.
But it's going to cost you a lot more to buy now,
Yeah.
even though the price has come down.
Yeah.
Right.
So and on the flip side of that, if you're waiting for prices to come down more, let's say down another 5% in the next, in the next 3 months, 6 months, it's going to cost you.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
With the interest rates, that just keeps going up to no end. It seems like, at least. But
I hope we're at the peak for
yeah,
rates, but I
for
mean,
sure.
it's hard right now because there's a lot of mixed signals. The government's done a very poor job, I would say, with the Bank of Canada, I
Yeah.
should say, of telegraphing where things are going and
Yeah.
what's actually being counted in inflation. And they said rates were going to go up very slowly. Well, it's been the exact opposite. This is unprecedented
Right.
in terms of rate increases. And if rates do peak, which they probably are, give or take, at the highest level they'll get to, then what happens in a year, when they start to come down? Do we
Right.
get into another
Frenzy.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right? When people are saying, well, okay, now the rate's 4% instead
Yeah.
of 5, does that lead people to start kind of going nuts
Right.
again?
And another thing I'm noticing that is causing at least the investment properties to go down a little bit. As you know, during COVID, everyone's looking for end user homes, right? Bigger places to move into, to live in. Now, over just the last 6 months alone, rental rates have gone up close to 20%. It's crazy. A one-bedroom condo used to be $1,800, and now it's $2,300.
Wow.
And inflation, as we all know, has gone up 8%, but they just capped the rental increase this year at 2%.
Yeah.
That makes landlords hard to maintain their investment properties. And we do need the landlords, as much as some people don't like the fact that people use properties to trade or whatnot. These are the people that's providing the supply for rental properties for those that unfortunately can't afford to buy a property, right? And that's causing a lot of price surges as well in the rental market. It's just a vicious cycle.
Has there been a time where the government's put a policy in that's actually worked? Can you recall? Aside from maybe
Good question.
I don't know, legalizing marijuana? I don't know.
Yeah. So I mean that's unfortunate. I mean it just doesn't make sense. A lot of that doesn't make sense. But anyways, back to the interest rates. So if you're at the end of the day, if you're looking to move, you're buying and selling in the same market. Yeah, you may not get the price for your home as you would have 6 months ago, but you're also buying for less, right? So it's a push. It's not really affecting you as much in regards to the price differences, but the payments of a new property, unless you're porting your old mortgage over, the payments of a new property may start to affect you more and more and more and more. So
we're putting people into, as counterintuitive as it sounds, either a variable rate with the expectation that this is probably the most you're going to pay. And some variable rates have the payment where it's going to stay exactly the same. So if rates go up a little bit more, your cash flow is not impacted.
Right.
Or we're doing short term, a 1 or 2 year fixed rate, just to get through the next 12 months of the uncertainty, with again the expectation that rates will start to come down.
Right.
The idea here is that the reason rates have gone up so much is the government's trying to really put a damper on things as fast as possible. Otherwise, you would have had a gradual increase in rates as we get back to normal conditions.
Right.
But because it's gone up so quickly, the faster they kind of get to that pinnacle of rates, the sooner they can start lowering rates. Now, rates generally don't drop as fast as they go up. And that's good, because I think we need to kind of pound it into people that cheap money maybe isn't a good thing. Over the last 20 years, we've had rates at 3.5%. Maybe they need to be at 4-ish or whatever. But when rates do come down, hopefully people can kind of get back into the market with a little bit more of an affordability kind of perspective, right?
But then at that time, chances are it's going to be multiple offers,
prices go back up. Yeah. So
exactly.
So you're back to like the nitty gritty of the market.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, conclusion is that you may not sell your property at the peak price that goes into your pocket, but if you're moving, it's really the price difference is a push. I think the main thing that you need to look at, whether you're buying or or selling, and try to understand the buyer's market, is those payments and how affordable it actually is to the buyers today with the rates that they are. So,
and we also have to worry about the stress test as well, because of your rate. So if you're taking a 5-year fixed rate at 5.5%, you have to demonstrate you can make the payment based on that plus 2%. So 7.5% as a stress test, where it used to be 5.25%, is very cumbersome and punitive for people, especially if you're on that brink of affordability. First-time home buyer, or if you've got just 5%.
They're the ones that suffer. First-time home buyers.
So there is a lot of talk that there could be like a 30-year amortization coming out from CMHC. We've heard this rumor before, and it's just
25.
Just a rumor. It's 25 right now. But in order for young people to be able to afford a house, that's kind of what needs to happen. You need to be able to pay that mortgage off over like 30 or 35 years. I mean, we're not living to 70 anymore. People are living into like 90s or 100. So why not give them the benefit of like that longevity? Get into a home, build up some equity, and maybe that would be a useful policy for the government to bring in. But having said that, maybe it won't happen.
Well, okay. And I think we've kind of summed up a lot of kind of what's going on over the summer and what's going on now. If the rates keep going up, like they've been hinting, unfortunately the payments are just going to keep going up, and more of that is going to be interest that goes towards the banks and the lenders. It's not going to be equity that you're paying more on. So keep that in mind. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you, Chris, for coming back.
Thanks for having me again.
So if you have any questions in regards to moving, selling, buying, and want to just chat through your options, give me a call. If you're looking to refinance, getting a pre-approval or a mortgage on a new place, and it's just finding out the most beneficial way for you, give Chris a call, and we'd be happy to help. Have a great day.
Thanks, Alex.